It's been a while since I presented anything to you all, since my initial work on the microblog server. So I've been trying to do some work on a client. Now I haven't built a full client, this is just a mock-up, but I wanted to share with you my ideas to get some feedback, because I don't want to code it and then find out that there's obvious mistakes. So let me explain what we have. Don't worry about any styling issues. There are some styling issues, like this massive gap here between the scroll bar and the box, but I can sort all that out. That's just some stupid mistakes I've made. This is something completely new to me, because I've, as you probably read, I've written very little code anyway, and the code that I have written tends to be in the form of a plugin when I contributed stuff to an open source project called Wireshark, and also scripts at work where I've done some scripting to automate things. So having to deal with graphical user interface is something quite new to me. So I'm on a bit of a learning curve here. Okay, so the top will look somewhat familiar in that we've got the frequency over here. This 1800 Hertz thing, which is the offset into the frequency band, the 3.6K or whatever, that's the midpoint, isn't it, of the 3.6K bandwidth. I think that's a waste of time. I think we need to think about something. If we're going to put something under here, we probably don't want that. I did think perhaps I could put the, that this is 20 meters or whatever. That's a possibility, but I think we can make better use of that space. I don't want to completely replicate what's in JS8Call, because there's no point. We're still going to be running JS8Call, and if we need that sort of information, it's very easy just to flick into that window. I don't want to try and rebuild JS8Call in this client. Time of day, I'm thinking that this should be UTC, but it will probably be configurable. I haven't added a menu bar up here yet, but there will be a menu bar with the settings, file settings, etc. I'm going to come back to the scan button in a minute. In fact, I'm going to deal with this part here. This obviously is just like you would see in JS8Call. And the idea is that you would put in here, say that I want to get blog 24, and it would go and get this particular post here and drag the information up and show you. In fact, that's what I've done, exactly what I've done just here. This area is scrollable, and I would expect it to be at the bottom by default and scroll upwards automatically as we put in commands. I don't want us to have to scroll it, to get to the output. So probably no big surprise there. Now, the one thing is, who are we directing this to? Well, you can see that the selected blog is M0PXO. Over here on the right, we have all the blogs that have been seen. So this is from a combination of the announcement messages from @MB announce, @MB, and then the latest blog number, which would be 29 in this case. And also a new command that would be sent to the server that would get some additional information, such as capabilities and probably latest post date and some other things perhaps. This list will be updated not just by the blogs we communicate with here, but it also will be updated because the client will monitor receive activity and look out for announcements and put the new blogs into here. Actually, it's a bit more than that, because not only will it look out for the announcements, it will also monitor receive activity to see if other people are interacting with blogs, and it will sort of gather information from that traffic as well. So over here on the left, you see we have a latest posts area. So what would happen is that you can see at the moment this says that the latest post for M0PXO is 29. If number 30 arrives, what will happen is that the client would go and get the title line for number 30 and place it in this area here, but it would only do it once. So even though there will be repeated announcements probably that say 30 as the latest post, it'll only do it once. And then, as you can see, it's in reverse chronological order. So as new information arrives, it will appear at the top of this list. So in this way, we can see the latest posts across all of the stations that we're actually monitoring for posts. And the final bit of functionality is this scan button. So what will happen is you'll click on the scan button and it will go off and step through the different bands and the different frequencies that hold JS8 traffic, and it will just listen. So it will go to one band, it will listen for a period, see if it can see any new stations with new blogs, and stick those in here, and then it will move on to another band and another band and another band. So you could just click on it, go away and make a coffee or whatever, and maybe it'll have picked up some new blogs on different bands other than on 20 meters. So the idea I had was, as soon as you start to type into here, that it would disable the scan. So the scan would stop. If you came in here and typed, then this will go back to green and it will stop scanning, and it will return you back to the band that you were originally on. Which also brings us on to another thing, is that if I were to click on another one of these, I haven't quite sorted out the buttons properly here, but if I was to click on one of these and K7MNO is actually on a different band, it would actually automatically say selected blog is K7MNO, and it would switch the frequency to the band that station was announcing on. So I hope that makes sense. So the main thing, I mean, you know, the one thing you notice here is there's not lots of buttons and lots of things. I wanted to try and keep it really simple because it's just trying to achieve a single purpose, and I'd like it to do as much as possible to do things automatically. Now, we might have some settings where we can change the way it behaves, but I don't want us to have to put in, you know, click lots of buttons to do things. There is a bit of a question over whether this command line idea is a good idea or whether I should just have a row of buttons. I think you're going to want the command line even if you do have buttons, because to give flexibility. The other thing that I would like to try to do is, as these listings come in, I would like to try and make these into hotspots or hyperlinks, if you like. There'll be buttons as well, so that if I click on 25 there, it will immediately do get 25. Okay, I hope you found that interesting. I'd really welcome your feedback on this, particularly on things that I may have missed or not thought of, or even, you know, if you like, tell me that this is not at all what you expected and you were looking for something quite different. That's useful input as well.